Good evening. I'm Jay Maneras, and I'm here to tell you a story about a haunted bridge out in Jonesville, Virginia. The bridge on Route 666. Now you listen here and mind what I'm telling you. Don't go crossing that old swingin' bridge out on Route 666 after dark. I don't care if you're dared or drunk or thinking it's just old folks' tales. That bridge don't belong to the living no more. It used to once, back when it was new, built in the early 1900s to get across the river towards the old mill and the holler beyond. Back then, it was a lifeline. Farmers, sweethearts, travelers, everybody used it. But time, she's cruel, and the boards got soft, and the cables moaned in the wind like something mourning. Folks said that bridge remembered every soul that ever crossed it. Then came that night, October 13th, 1939. The air was sharp with rain, and the Powell River was riding high. A local preacher named Reverend Haskins was riding home late from a wake down near Stickleyville. They say he was humming hymns to keep his horse steady when the storm rolled in sudden. He tried to cross that bridge, rain beating his back, thunder rolling like God himself was angry. Halfway across, the planks gave out, and the horse and rider both went down, swallowed by the flood. They pulled his body out 3 days later downstream. He was tangled in roots and weeds, but the horse was never found. And ever since then, folks say the bridge ain't quiet. When the rain falls heavy and the wind turns from the east, you can hear hooves on those boards, slow and steady, and a man humming, "Nearer, my God, to thee." Some nights, if you're fool enough to stand close, the boards will start swaying on their own, and if you look down through the mist, you'll see a lantern glowing beneath, just hanging there over the river, drifting side to side like it's waiting for you to step on. Only once you do, the light goes out, and whatever you hear humming ain't no preacher. Now, it don't matter how many times you tell folks not to poke at the dark. There's always some fool young ones that gotta learn the hard way. Wasn't too long ago, maybe mid-90s, a bunch of Jonesville kids got it in their heads to cross that old bridge come Halloween night. Said they were gonna prove it weren't haunted, just a story old folks told to keep 'em from drinking by the river. There was 4 of 'em, 2 boys and 2 girls, locals all their lives. You know the kind, restless, laughing loud, thinking they're bulletproof 'cause the world ain't broke 'em yet. They drove out towards Route 66, radio blaring, bottles clinking, moon riding low and yellow as a lantern flame. By the time they pulled up to that bridge, the mist was thickening over the water like breath on glass. They parked under that crooked sycamore, and the whole world went still. No frogs or owls, just that river murmuring down below. One of the boys, Travis, I think his name was, held up a flashlight and said, "Well, preacher man, if you're out here, we come to meet you." The others laughed. They always laugh before the mountains answer back. They started across, boards groaning under their boots, cables shivering with every step. Halfway out, the wind shifted, cold, sharp as a knife through wet cloth, and that's when the light started. Not the flashlight, that went dead. No, this was a soft glow coming from under the bridge, same as it always was. Yellowish white, swinging slow, side to side like a lantern held by an unsteady hand. "Hey," one of the girls whispered, "y'all see that?" But Travis just grinned and leaned over the side. Then they all heard it. Hooves, slow, steady, chopping on the boards right behind them. They turned, but there weren't nothing there, just fog rolling across the planks and the cables moaning like the whole bridge was breathing. Then came the hum, low, deep, almost a prayer floating right up from the dark. Sounded like words, but old, real old. Travis took one step back, muttering, "Ain't funny, y'all." But the others weren't laughing. The boards beneath him creaked once, then dropped. Just like that, he was gone. Flashlight, laughter, all of it, swallowed by black water. The rest ran screaming for the car, swearing they saw a man's shadow standing at the far end of the bridge, tall, hat brim low, one arm outstretched like he was holding a lantern. They found Travis the next morning, a mile downstream, tangled in roots and his eyes wide open. And mud was packed up in his mouth like he'd been trying to scream underwater. Police called it an accident. Locals didn't. And that bridge, it swayed for 3 whole nights after, though the air was still as death. Now, honey, every town's got one woman who remembers more than she ought to. In Jonesville, that was Miss Ada Bell Harper, widowed young, lived in the same weather-beaten house just off the ridge for nearly 70 years. Folks said she could hear the mountain think. She'd lost her husband in that same flood that took Reverend Haskins back in '39 when the bridge near washed away, never remarried, and never left town. And every October, when the nights got cold and the wind started humming through the cables, she'd walk down there with a lantern of her own, said it was to keep 'em company. Now most figured that was just grief talk, but some nights folks driving down Route 666 swore they saw her. A small figure in a shawl standing right at the center of that bridge, holding her light up high while another glowed faint and gold beneath the boards. They'd honk or holler, but she'd never turn, and when they'd stop, there'd be nothing there but fog and the sound of water rushing below. Then one year, must have been '98, long after that boy Travis drowned, Ada Bell went missing. Her neighbor said she left her house just before sundown, muttering that the river was calling his name again. They found her shawl hanging from one of the bridge posts the next morning, still warm from her body, but no sign of her. That night, a deputy radioed to keep folks away from the bridge, and he saw 2 lanterns burning on the river. One was bright and one was dim, both moving slow, side by side, swinging in time with the current. When he blinked, they were gone. But the air smelled like rain and old perfume, with lavender and smoke. Since that night, it said if you go out to that bridge alone on a still night, you'll see her first, the widow, with her gray shawl and her kind eyes, holding her lantern steady and waiting. She'll whisper your name soft, like she knows you, and if you answer, she'll smile and step aside. And the boards under your feet will start to sway like the river's breathing again. Some say she's trying to warn folks away. Others say she's leading them home. But one thing's sure, since that night, nobody who's gone to meet her after midnight's ever come back dry. And every fall when the fog curls low over that cursed stretch of Route 666, you can still hear her 2 lanterns humming through the dark, 2 souls swinging gentle above a river that don't never give back what it takes. Now, I ain't one to meddle in other folks' tales, but I reckon you deserve to know why I don't go near that bridge no more. See, I was just a girl when they pulled Reverend Haskins out of that river. My daddy helped drag him up from the shallows, said his hand was still clutching a broken bit of rope like he'd been trying to save somebody. Mama told him to burn the clothes he wore that day, and when he didn't, they never quite dried right again. Years later, I used to walk that road myself, loved the way the moon laid silver on the water, cables singing, soft in the wind like some old hymn. I never felt afraid, not till that night I saw her. It was October 1964. A fog had rolled down from Wallen's Ridge, thick as milk. I was coming back from helping my Aunt birth a calf, and I figured I'd cut across the bridge to save some time. Halfway through, I felt the air change, cold, heavy, wet, like standing in a cave. Then I heard it, that hum, low, steady, familiar. I turned and there she was, a woman in gray, hair floating like smoke, holding a lantern that threw no light on her face. My legs went weak, but my mouth worked before my mind did, and I whispered, "Reverend?" And Lord help me, she answered, "He's waiting, child, just ahead." Then she pointed towards the far side of the bridge, and the boards under me began to creak, soft at first, then hard enough to shake the nails. I ran, didn't look back till I hit the road, and when I did, there weren't no woman, and there was no light, just the sound of something deep below dragging its breath slow and heavy. That was 60 years ago now, and I ain't set foot on that bridge since. But I still live close enough to hear it. When the wind's right, it starts to sway on its own, like it's remembering every soul it ever took. And sometimes, when I wake in the middle of the night, I can see it from my window, that faint yellow glow floating just above the river, and another one dimmer following beside it. I reckon that's the widow and her preacher, still walking the boards, still humming that hymn, and still waiting for one more fool to join 'em. So if you ever find yourself riding down Route 666 after midnight, and you see that old bridge swaying in the mist, don't you stop, and don't even look. Just drive on and whisper a prayer for whoever's lantern's still swinging out there, halfway between the living and the drowned. 'Cause that river's got a long memory, and the bridge, she don't forget no one. Well now, that's the truth of it, far as any living soul can tell. The bridge still stands, though the road's near swallowed by weeds, and every year somebody's getting the full notion to go see if the haint's real. Some come back pale, some come back shaken, and some don't come back at all. They say the river's deepest right beneath the bridge, black water that don't ever warm, no matter the season. And when the moon's hid behind clouds and the wind still as death, you can still see two lights drifting across the water, swinging side by side, slow and mournful. I ain't saying it's real, but I'll tell you this, I keep my distance and I don't whistle when I drive that stretch. The dead don't much care for company, but that bridge, she'll always make room for one more.